Hey guys, it's Dad. Um, I wanted to write something to you this morning, but I thought maybe it'd be easier if I just said it. That way you wouldn't have to read a whole bunch of stuff. But yesterday, as you guys know, I dropped Benjamin off for college, the last of you three boys to take off. And really been thinking about that a lot. And this morning, as I was taking a shower, I kind of had the image of an arrow, and I thought of you guys being the three arrows that I have fired into the air, and I wanted to just kind of a collage of images followed after that, and started thinking about arrows and how we intend to shoot them, and we intend for them to have a trajectory. We intend for them to go to a place and hit a target. My target, actually our target, your mother and I, our target for you guys has been that you go out into the world, that you be men of faith, men of integrity, that you make the world better than you found it, that after even we're gone, that you're still making the world better by being good men, good husbands, good fathers, that you pass on a legacy of goodness and integrity and service and faith. And that you bless the world around you with the resources that you've been given and everything that has been given to you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of what you've achieved so far. I'm proud of what you're carrying with you already. So it's not just the aim of the arrow that determines its flight, though. There's things that are characteristic to the arrow itself that will determine where that arrow goes, and our intention can be as good as we want it to be, and that's all fine. But there are things that have to determine the flight of that arrow, and I was thinking about those things, and I realize it's basically the shape of the arrow itself that determines it's the trueness of its flight, but it's also those little feathers on the backside of the arrow that make it go straight, that make it go to its intended target. And I was just kind of sitting there thinking, well, what could I think of as those feathers that have been attached to you, that are part of your life, that you'll carry with you, that will actually determine where you go. And I kind of thought of four things. I thought I'd share that with you this morning. First thing I kind of thought of, well, it's not the first thing, it's the second thing. I'll get to the first thing later. But one of the things that I thought of is one of the feathers that determine the flight of an arrow in my mind, your flight, the flight of your life, where you will go is your family. Not just where you've come from, because we've given you what we can give you. We will continue to be there. We'll support you. We will hopefully be there to counsel you, to add to resources where they're needed. But that's not really what I'm thinking about as you continue to go along. Your family, your brothers and sisters, that's important to maintain those relationships. That's important to keep those bonds close, and because there's nobody in this world that really will care about you unconditionally more so than your own family, your own brothers and sisters. There's a few people you can call in the middle of the night who'll drive across the country or come to your aid or listen to your stories or hear your heartbreak without judgment, without condemnation, like your brothers and sisters. So it's important for you to maintain those relationships no matter what happens. Be forgiving, be there, be good brothers and sisters, be good family to your family. And that also reminds me that you're right now building the future for your future family. What you're doing now, the steps that you're taking now, the hard work you're putting in now, the habits you're building now in terms of saving, staying out of debt, being a hard worker, being excellent in what you do, that's going to determine the future for your family that you don't even have yet. So that's a very important thing to keep in mind. The other thing that I want you to think about too is your future, that feather that I call future, and I'm using F's because that may hopefully be memorable to you. But when I say future, I mean your vision, that you have a vision of where you want to go. Because if you don't determine where you want to be, you'll just end up wherever. So I want you to have a big vision. I don't want you to settle for mediocrity. I don't want you to settle for being just carried along by the tide. I want you to be trendsetters. I want you to be top of your class. I want you to be the example for others around you in terms of integrity, in terms of stick-to-itiveness. I want people to look at you and say, that guy's going somewhere. And you have an eye on the future, a vision that is big, a vision that is great, a vision that is not given to you by somebody else, and that's not dumbed down or minimized by your own fears or regrets or worries about whether you're able to accomplish it. I want you to have a big future, and I want you to go for it, because that's going to determine how far you go and where you go. So your family, your future, your friends, that's a big part of what's going to determine the trajectory of your life. Who you allow in your life, who you choose to walk alongside of. So many times we just end up with people because they're there, but I want you to be selective about the people in your life. Choose to be friends with people who are on the same journey that you are, that's headed for where you want to go, that have integrity, that have character, that have what it takes to go as far as you think you can go. Because if you hang around with people that aren't headed in that direction, that aren't gracious people, aren't wise people, aren't generous people, you're going to find yourself being more like them and headed to where they're headed rather than where God intends you to be. So choose your friends wisely, because that will, sorry, a little froggy this morning. That will determine, that plays a big part in determining your future. Who you allow to walk next to you and who you allow access to the inner circles of your life. That's going to be a big factor in where your life goes. So keep that in mind. The first thing I thought of, I saved for last because I think it's the most important. Not just your friends, not just your family, not just your future vision, but your faith. I had a dream last night. I was seeing windows go by like on a train, how as you look out a train and the scene is passing by. But instead of the scenery outside moving, the windows were moving. It was almost like the train was passing by, but I could see out and I could see visions of my life and I could see every circumstance of my life. And suddenly it was like a filter came off and I was having really good feelings about my life. I've had a great life. I've been blessed. But the filter came off and there was like an emptiness. It went black and white. It was like dusty and dry. And I realized that God, the essence of God, the essence of my faith was what brought meaning to every aspect of my life. And that's the most important thing that I can leave with you, is that whatever you accomplish in life, whatever you achieve in life, whatever you experience in life, it will have meaning if God is a part of it. If you don't allow your faith to slip away, but if you choose to make that faith your own and invite God to be a part of your life, that will enrich everything you do. Now, you have to take what I have given you, what your mother and I have given you. You have to take the seeds that have been sown in your heart, in your mind, in your life. You have to take those and you have to literally hold them out in front of you, and you have to make a choice to walk forward with that or leave it behind. That's your decision. Each one of you have to make that decision. But I'm telling you, if you leave that behind, you will leave behind the key to the meaning of life itself. Whatever you achieve, whatever you accomplish will not have fulfillment or meaning unless you bring God into the midst of it. So that's the most important thing that I can tell you in terms of going forward, is your faith. Find it. Renew it. Make it yours. Don't take mine. Don't take your mother's. Find your own relationship with God and invite him into your life. And finally, the thing that makes an arrow go straight and true is the shape of its shaft, the shaft of the arrow itself. And to me, that speaks of integrity. That speaks of being a person who is true. I always think of that saying, be the man that your dog thinks you are. And what that really means is don't live a life for the public that is different from the life that you are when you're alone. Have character, have integrity, be a man of your word. When you say you're going to do something, do it. When you owe a debt, pay it. When you say something, make sure your word is true and honest. Don't be a man who can't be trusted. Don't be a man whose word is questionable. Be a man of integrity, and your flight will be straight and it will be true. And I will continue to be as proud of you as I am now. I look forward to seeing where each of you go. I'm so proud of you. I'm so excited to see what the future holds, and I love you all. Bye.